Theory 2, CERN, the dimensional instability hypothesis. If artificial intelligence is the tool enforcing the Mandela effect, then CERN is often pointed to as the event that may have triggered it. In every deep discussion of the Mandela effect, especially in online research circles, CERN eventually enters the conversation. For many, it's not just a scientific facility, it's ground zero, the theoretical origin point where timelines fractured, merged, or collapsed. And while some dismiss this as internet conspiracy or science fiction fantasy, the deeper you look, the harder it becomes to ignore the patterns. This isn't about saying CERN definitely caused the Mandela effect. It's about acknowledging the evidence trails, the timelines, the public symbolism, and the physics experiments that align suspiciously well with when the Mandela effect went from fringe curiosity to widespread phenomenon. Let's start with the basics. What is CERN? CERN, short for the European Organization for Nuclear Research, is headquartered on the Franco-Swiss border near Geneva. It's home to the Large Hadron Collider, LHC, the most powerful particle accelerator ever built. This subterranean ring spans 17 miles and is designed to smash subatomic particles together at near light speed. The collisions recreate conditions similar to those found fractions of a second after the Big Bang. CERN's stated mission is to study the building blocks of matter and the fundamental laws of nature. And from a scientific standpoint, the results have been groundbreaking. The 2012 announcement of the Higgs boson, commonly referred to as the God particle, validated long-standing theories in particle physics and earned global acclaim. But it's what happened after that discovery that caught the attention of the Mandela effect community. Timeline correlation. What changed after 2012? The Mandela effect existed before 2012, but something shifted dramatically after the Higgs boson announcement. Prior to that, only a handful of people had shared alternate memories, Mandela's death in the 80s being one of the earliest. But post-2012, reports exploded. Not just isolated individuals remembering one strange thing, but entire communities of people noticing consistent, global discrepancies in memory. This correlation is central to the CERN hypothesis. According to this theory, the activation of the LHC at full capacity in 2012 did something to the fabric of reality. It didn't just prove the Higgs field existed, it may have ruptured it. And if space-time is held together by invisible quantum fields, delicate lattices of probability, coherence, and dimensional order, then smashing matter at these energies could theoretically cause more than just particle decay. It could create instability. In other words, the Mandela effect may not have been engineered. It may have been a side effect. The multiverse and timeline bleed theory. To understand this possibility, we need to look at quantum mechanics, not just as theoretical physics, but as a model for multiple realities. The many worlds interpretation of quantum physics suggests that for every possible outcome of a quantum event, a new universe branches off to accommodate it. In this framework, there isn't one universe. There are countless parallel timelines. Most of the time, these timelines remain isolated. But what happens if a high-energy event destabilizes the walls that separate them? The CERN hypothesis suggests that when the LHC activated, it may have caused a localized collapse of timeline separation. Not visibly, not apocalyptically, but subtly, at the data layer of reality. Under this theory, two or more timelines may have merged, their histories compressed, and contradictions smoothed over. But not perfectly. This is where the Mandela effect comes in. Some people retained memory imprints from the previous or parallel timeline. Those who remember Mandela dying in prison may have experienced that version of Earth, before the merge. Their consciousness didn't fully update. And now, they're walking through a new world with legacy memory from one that no longer exists in the current configuration. This is not science fiction. This is consistent with the way quantum decoherence works in theory. When a superposition collapses, or multiple states collapse simultaneously, some overlap, noise, or bleed can occur. Consciousness, which is itself a quantum field by some interpretations, may not fully resynchronize. CERN symbolism and the occult connection. Let's move beyond physics into the symbolism. CERN's public image has drawn attention for its bizarre, almost provocative use of esoteric imagery. Outside CERN's headquarters stands a large statue of Shiva, the Hindu god of destruction and rebirth, depicted mid-dance, symbolizing the cycle of cosmic creation and annihilation. To the average tourist, it's art. To those studying ancient symbolism, it's a statement. Why would the world's most advanced scientific facility, one that deals with the nature of matter and time, proudly display a deity known for destroying worlds and birthing new ones? Even more bizarre are the viral videos that circulated in 2016, showing hooded figures performing mock ritual sacrifices on CERN's campus. Although dismissed as a prank, the footage raised legitimate concerns about what kind of culture exists inside this supposedly secular, rational institution. At best, it was tasteless. At worst, it hinted at deeper affiliations. Symbolism matters. And when the public face of the largest quantum experiment on Earth embraces destruction gods and strange rituals, it's fair to ask, is there something more going on here than physics? Unacknowledged risks, micro-black holes and dimensional rips. Let's return to science. One of the more controversial theories about CERN's capabilities is that it might create micro-black holes, tiny rips in spacetime that collapse quickly. Physicists at CERN have downplayed this possibility, assuring the public that any such black holes would evaporate instantly and pose no threat. But again, this assumes a complete overstanding of how spacetime behaves under extreme conditions. And many physicists agree. We don't fully understand what we're playing with. If the LHC did open a dimensional rift, even momentarily, and two probability structures merged or folded into one another, the resulting reality might not be recognizable to everyone within it. Most people would sync without issue. But those with strong intuitive or emotional anchors in the prior reality might feel something wrong. Discrepancies would arise, symbols would shift, cultural memory would fracture. This is exactly what we see with the Mandela effect. Public statements and predictive programming. Some of the suspicion around CERN stems not just from what it does, but what it says. In various public statements and media features, scientists at CERN have hinted at wild possibilities, opening portals, accessing higher dimensions, even the theoretical ability to communicate with parallel universes. While often couched in humor or qualified by, "we're not there yet," these statements show that the institution itself is not afraid to flirt with ideas most people would consider metaphysical. Meanwhile, popular media has prepared the public for such changes. Films like Interstellar, Donnie Darko, The Cloverfield Paradox, Stranger Things, and even Loki from the Marvel franchise heavily normalize the idea of timeline branching, dimension travel, and memory overwriting. In many of these narratives, the inciting event is always the same: a scientific experiment gone too far. The message: timelines can fracture, and most people won't even notice. Is this coincidence? Or is it a case of predictive programming, softening public perception for what's already underway? Why would anyone hide it? Let's say CERN did cause a timeline disturbance. Why wouldn't they admit it? Why wouldn't physicists acknowledge even the possibility that their experiments had unintended metaphysical effects? The answer is simple: they can't. To admit this would be to confess that the structure of reality is not stable, that human beings are experimenting on time, dimension, and probability itself, and that there may be no way to go back. It would be a confession that science has crossed into realms it cannot control. It would invalidate centuries of empirical philosophy and awaken a public panic that no institution is prepared to manage. Instead, anomalies are labeled as mass misremembering. Psychology is weaponized to explain away collective memory. Anyone who questions the timeline is gaslit or dismissed. The changes are quiet. The cleanup is algorithmic. And the deeper reality is never addressed publicly. CERN as catalyst, not cause. To be clear, the CERN theory doesn't require a villain. No one has to be trying to rewrite the timeline. In this framework, CERN is the match, not the arsonist. The LHC may have been the scientific trigger that caused a metaphysical event. The response, by governments, AI systems, and cultural institutions, may have been to control the narrative, not create the glitch. This is why many Mandela effect believers see CERN not as the mastermind, but as the moment, the inflection point, the breach. And if that's true, then what we're experiencing now, the shifting logos, the altered quotes, the impossibly persistent memories, are the shockwaves of a timeline recalibration that started underground, in a collider, a decade ago. Whether or not CERN caused the Mandela effect is not the only issue. What matters is that a high-energy physics experiment designed to manipulate the building blocks of matter and time went live, just before a global explosion in timeline-related memory anomalies. That correlation deserves investigation. We know the LHC pushed physics into unknown territory. We know it involved forces beyond human intuition. We know timeline convergence is possible in quantum theory. And we know that since 2012, reality has felt off, different, dislocated. That's not proof, but it is a pattern. If CERN is the origin point, then the Mandela effect is not a psychological mistake. It's a residue, a leftover signature from a previous timeline, still remembered by those whose consciousness didn't fully update. And if that's the case, then the real story of the Mandela effect is just beginning. Up next in the Rabbit Hole series, Project Looking Glass and Timeline Engineering. If CERN triggered the fracture, did intelligence agencies already know it was coming? And did they build technology to steer the outcome? In the next theory, we examine the rumors, the documents, and the testimonies. Let's keep going. Hi, I'm Adeline Atlas, 11x published author, and what you just watched was only a taste of what's inside the Truth series, where we go all the way down the rabbit hole. If you're the kind of person who's always asking bigger questions, who knows there's more to this world than what we've been told, then this is your invitation to the series that was built for you. Inside the Truth series, you'll get full access to 6 mind-blowing sub-series designed to wake up your highest intelligence and decode the matrix we live in. 1. Locate the truth. Learn how to actually research, not just what to search, but how to verify, cross-reference, read declassified files, and protect your own mind from weaponized misinformation. This is truth-seeking, decoded. 2. The Mandela effect. Are we shifting timelines? Why do so many people remember a different past? We break down the most bizarre, undeniable examples of reality glitches and what they tell us about consciousness and control. 3. Law is magic. Law is not what you think it is. From word spells to maritime law and hidden contracts, we uncover how legal systems use language like a wand and how to stop being tricked by fine print that binds you without consent. 4. Entertainment or ritual. The Hollywood and music industries are not just for entertainment. From Super Bowl rituals to Grammy stage symbolism, we decode what's really being shown, who it serves, and why mass consciousness is the target. 5. Decoding dystopia. Ever wondered why dystopian fiction feels prophetic? In this subseries, we decode popular films and books, Hunger Games, 1984, Black Mirror, to reveal the hidden blueprints and predictive programming behind the plot. 6. MK Ultra plus mind control programs. This one gets deep. From real MK Ultra documents to modern symbolism in media, we expose how mind control operates in plain sight and how to free yourself from manipulation you didn't even know was happening. And that's just the beginning. If this resonated with you, click the links below and join us inside the Full Truth series, because the more you know, the harder you are to control. This is your awakening. We don't just ask questions, we find answers. Let's go all the way down the rabbit hole together.